Finish what you've started. Did you hear that?
No. Did you hear something?
I think there's someone upstairs.
Oh, Victor.
Stay here, officer. I'm going up to check.
Professor Shah?
Professor Shah?
Gosh. Shama. Not much of a classroom, is it? But then I wasn't much of a lecturer, was I?
You're the best teacher I ever had.
Yes, it's taken me half my life just to realize that.
No flattery. Just the two of you.
Where is he?
I don't know, he was just behind us when we entered the gate.
Is it Prithvi who's absconding as usual?
No, Pavan, he was with us.
And where's Prithvi?
His father's in hospital, so he'll come directly, I hope.
And I know about Varsha, of course.
How do you know?
I told you. Surprised to see me? I was equally surprised to hear about your exploits at the MII.
I've been telling Victor, I call him Victor, about the five of you, right from the beginning.
And he was about to finish the story.
But you promised.
That I would not tell anyone what really happened. Yes, and I have kept my promise to you five.
But if you've been talking to Inspector Menezes, then obviously...
I've been telling him what he would have discovered in any case through the cassettes Jonathan left.
Jonathan's verbal diary?
But we destroyed that. We burnt it the day Jonathan was killed.
What you burnt were the original tapes. This is an entire set of copies.
Who made copies?
I did, Shama. Towards the end, when Jonathan knew he was going to die, he asked me to make a set of copies and keep them with me for a day like this. A day in the future where I could narrate the entire story with proof. And Jonathan's cassettes are proof.
Just a minute. You said Jonathan knew he was going to die?
Yes, he knew he was going to die.
But how could he know? His death was
Shama!
Don't worry about anything. Today we shall speak loud and clear. No guilty mumblings and whisperings. Shout it from the rooftops if you want. Don't you understand what I'm saying?
The professor is trying to tell you that there's no point in concealing your part in Jonathan Parker's murder. I know almost everything that happened. And as soon as we've freed Varsha, I'll have to arrest the five of them for the murder of Jonathan Parker.
No, you won't, Victor. Because these five didn't murder Jonathan. Yes, these five didn't murder Jonathan.
Professor, right. Inspector. He did not kill Jonathan. Ashok Mathur.
Mr. Prithvi, what makes you say such a thing with such certainty?
Because Ashok Mathur told Piyush that he had killed Jonathan in a fit of jealous rage because he had found out that Tanas, his fiancée, was having an affair with him. So he beat Jonathan ruthlessly on that hill that day, put him on his bike and pushed him over that cliff. And he fell in the exact spot that the five of us were supposed to rendezvous with him that day.
And there where we saw him falling right over the edge of the cliff, knowing that we had cut his brakes.
We assumed that we were responsible for his death. And being star students at MII, we were on the brink of great careers, lives. We decided to keep this whole thing a secret. So we did that for 13 years.
And what started all this? I mean, why did Ashok Mathur suddenly decide to get the skeleton out of the closet?
Because, Victor, someone started blackmailing him a few months ago. Someone who knew that he had murdered Jonathan Parker, which would lead to the reopening of the case, the conviction of Mathur, and his political career would be aborted even before it began.
So he used his hold over Prithvi's brother Piyush to hire Ranaday, so that he would get us all to the guest house, aiming probably to kill one of us, thereby creating enough confusion and fighting so that we would probably reveal what we believed.
And we thought that we had killed Jonathan for 13 years.
So that the blame could shift to these five and Mr. Mathur could be absolved of the murder? But what about the blackmailer? Surely he had some evidence on the basis of which he was threatening to reveal Ashok Mathur's guilt to the world?
After 13 years, Victor, fingerprints blood stains. Nothing remains after 13 years. Wouldn't you agree?
Surely there must be something, Professor.
The scandal itself was enough to destroy Ashok Mathur. The blackmailer had the most powerful evidence, truth.
So then we weren't responsible for Jonathan's death.
Yeah.
I don't believe this.
Somehow it just seems too good to be true.
So it seems Ashok Mathur is the killer.
No, Victor. Ashok Mathur thought he had murdered Jonathan because he beat him up so brutally and then pushed him over the edge of a 100-foot cliff. You people are not responsible in any way for Jonathan's death.
This is the best piece of news I've heard in 13 years.
That's because you've lived with the guilt of Jonathan's murder for 13 years and now you're finally free of it.
Well, all along it was Mr. Mathur.
No, Mathur was being manipulated just as these were. It is true he was responsible for the physical act of beating Jonathan Parker to death, but he was maneuvered into doing this by someone else who was manipulating things all the time.
Who?
Hey, Menendez, काय करतोस?
Go on, Professor. What were you saying?
And don't worry about filling us latecomers in. You're quite up to date, thank you. We've been upstairs the whole day listening to your lecture.
Upstairs? I looked all over the place.
There's an attic with a trap door.
Varsha, you okay?
So go on, Professor, before the rest of the party arrives.
Yeah, you might as well finish your story, sir.
I was trying to say that there's one person behind the whole thing. Yes, Victor. The person who planned and manipulated the whole thing, including his own murder.
Jonathan himself?
Yes, Jonathan himself, the brain behind it all.
Are you saying that Jonathan Parker masterminded his own murder?
Yes, undoubtedly.
But why? He was so fun-loving, so full of life.
That is the biggest bunch of rubbish I've heard in a long time.
It's true.
Tell him like it is, Varsha.
Get your hands off her.
Hey, man, being together for the last couple days gave us a chance to get a little bit more than intimate, huh, babe?
Get away from me, you creep.
You heard her.
Yeah, with her compliments.
Are you okay, Varsha?
Varsha,
I'm fine, just a bit shaken.
they didn't hurt you in any way, did they?
I think we should blow away these guys right now. Relax, Akash. Don't take any chances with these guys. They're maniacs.
Oh, thanks for the compliment.
Actually, they've been quite decent with me.
They have?
अरे भाई, हम इतने गिरे हुए नहीं हैं क्या? The idea of borrowing Varsha was not to have a party with her. The idea was to make sure that everybody gathered here tonight.
Though I don't remember inviting our friendly neighborhood CBI inspector.
Not even diplomatic immunity can get you out of this mess now, Mr. David Parker.
अरे Menendez, ज़्यादा शाना मत बन क्या?
अरे हाँ, रानडे साहब, मैं यहाँ बेशक बगैर इनविटेशन के आया हूँ, लेकिन आपके लिए खुशखबरी है. जेल में आपका शान शौकत से स्वागत होगा. A great fanfare awaits you in jail, Mr. Ranade.
अच्छा, so after I left the department, मेरी जगह भरने के लिए आप जैसे लल्लू पंजू को भर्ती किए, हाँ?
साले मैं तुम्हें...
David, please, don't let the voices of weapons speak for us. Let us try a little more human conversation, please.
All right. We'll finish this right here, and then
Then we'll discuss the Indian Penal Code.
Why are you people doing this?
Over to you, David.
Doesn't everybody know why we're here? It's obvious, isn't it? I mean, we've been listening all day to Professor Shaw and this cop with this little bug here. And they seem to have a pretty good idea of what we're doing. Right, Professor Shaw?
Yes.
You were in touch with Parker, Professor Shaw?
Not for several years. The last time I saw him, he was trying to get me to reveal what really happened before his brother's death.
I was sure this old fart knew more than he was telling me, and I was right.
You were mentally unhinged after Jonathan's death, David. You still are. Telling you the truth would have been like setting off a nuclear bomb in their lives.
So, what made you tell Menezes now?
Yes. I failed to get you all these weeks. Now you turn around and reveal chapter after chapter, that too without any provocation.
Drama was always my first love.
Yeah? But why reveal all this after so many years?
But how the hell would you know all this anyway?
Tapes, Prithvi. Jonathan's verbal diary.
How would you know that Jonathan kept his diary on tape?
Jonathan himself told me, Prithvi. He told me to make copies for the future and save it for a day like this.
That's my brother, all right.
But if you knew everything, if you knew that we were involved, Ashok Mathur was involved, why did you wait for 13 years before revealing all this?
Yes. And why reveal anything at all?
Because, my friend, we're all nothing but players in a gigantic drama. I'm just playing my part, just as you all are. And the playwright who's manipulating us, tugging at our strings, is, of course, Jonathan Parker.
What are you talking about?
He means this is all part of Jonathan Parker's plan. Even our meeting like this. The professor's right. Piyush isn't the one behind this. He's only following Ashok Mathur's instructions. And Ashok Mathur is being manipulated, like the rest of us. As is David and Ranade, who are only following Jonathan's master plan.
You mean everything that's happening here today is part of the plan?
Yes,
Our being apart for 13 years, being called back to the guest house last month, Akash being shot, the bomb in the fireplace.
maybe not the minor details, Shama, but the overall plan, yes.
He knew the right masalas to throw into the Dixie to make the fat sizzle. Which way they jumped, it didn't matter, but jump they would.
This is absolutely insane. How can a man who's been dead for so long be behind all this?
Perhaps Varsha can tell us?
Varsha?
Yes, Akash. The last New Year's party, when they cleverly faked a telephone call from the hospital to tell you about your mother's death, was to get you away from that. I'm sorry, but that was the only way you could get Varsha to seduce Jonathan.
Yes, I know. I read that letter that you wrote to Shweta while she was in America.
You got that letter?
Yes. But it didn't tell me everything I wanted to know.
Then perhaps Varsha should tell us. Varsha, what happened that night when you went into Jonathan's room with him during the party?
Come on, honey bun, tell us all the dirty details.
Varsha?
Can you take it, Akash?
Well, I guess I'll have to, won't I?
That night was what destroyed our love. It filled me with so much guilt and hurt. I could never be the same with you again. I'm scared if I talk about it, it would drive us apart forever.
Maybe. But I must know the truth.
Tell him, Varsha. And tell us all the end of the epic mystery created by Jonathan Parker in the last days of his life and death.
Hello? Prithvi? No, she hasn't come down yet. I know I'm as worried as you are. How's Akash? Oh, God. Well, he had to find out. I still think it was a lousy thing we did. I know we did it just so we could get Varsha to spend time alone with Jonathan, but it still stinks. Yeah, so long as we can put an end to Jonathan's stupid kale, it'll be worth it. Sort of. Listen, I think I hear someone coming. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Hi, Shama.
Varsha, where the hell have you been? We've been worried sick about you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Worst New Year of my life. You know, I'm feeling so lousy having lied to Akash.
What did you say to him anyway to get him out of the way?
Well, we needed to get him out for practically the whole night. So we got Cheryl to call from outside, pretending she was a nurse from the hospital. And we told him that, well, that his mother's dead.
What? You did what?
It was the only way to be sure.
Shama, that's got to be the meanest thing. How could you?
Not feeling good about it, okay? But at least it worked. That's what matters.
Professor Shah's right. I mean, Jonathan's converted us into a bunch of lying, scheming, conniving animals.
It was Professor Shah's idea to get you to spend New Year's Eve night with Jonathan, getting him to admit the truth, okay? We only did what we had to do to support you.
Okay, let's not fight. I've got a splitting headache.
Okay, so tell me, what did he say? Did he talk?
Yeah, he talked. He talked so much that my head is still spinning.
So what did he say? Why is he doing all these things to hurt us?
Shama, you're not going to believe this.
What?
Jonathan's dying. He has only a few months to live. On his last trip to the US, he had a routine blood test before returning to India. That's when he realized that he had contracted a deadly virus called HIV.
AIDS?
Yes. Back then it was even more terrifying than it is now. His doctor told him that it was still dormant, but it could become active at any time and he would die within a period of 6 months to 2 years.
I don't know AIDS was prevalent then.
It's been around a lot longer than you think, Copper. When's the last time you had an HIV checkup?
But he didn't tell me that. Why did he tell you?
Hey, why didn't you tell us? I mean, I know you told Shama.
Shama was the only one I told. I didn't even tell Shweta, even though we were very close at that time, living in different countries and physically apart.
Yeah, it wasn't in the letter.
She made me promise not to tell you. Because...
Because what?
Because that's what I'd promised Jonathan.
That is such a load of rubbish.
Jonathan didn't tell me everything. That was Jonathan. He just told me that his father and brother treated him like a kid. And his father didn't want him to join politics because he thought Jonathan was too soft, too goody-goody for a tough profession like that. And Jonathan resented that attitude.
We never loved each other. As a matter of fact, we hated each other's guts. Because when my parents split up, my father kept me, and my mother took him. And all their bitterness towards one another rubbed off on us. So we were always looking at ways to outdo one another.
Jonathan tried to prove himself in sports and David in politics. You were very involved with your father's activities, weren't you, David?
Up until Jonathan died. And that cut me right to the vein.
So when he knew that he had this virus ticking inside him like a time bomb, he realized he didn't have time. He didn't have his entire life to prove he was a better man than his brother.
And so he cooked an insanely brilliant scheme to do it in the time that was left to him. He decided if he was going to die, he was going out in style.
You mean he just picked the five of us as some sort of clowns or acrobats to do this bizarre trapeze act of his?
He wanted to prove to his father that the best politician in the family was Jonathan Parker. Not Matt, not David.
And he told you all this that night? And you never breathed a word except to Shama?
He said this is why he'd been manipulating us. He didn't tell me what his plans for the future were.
He never mentioned Ashok Mathur, Tanaz, or even Piyush.
How does Piyush get involved?
Prithvi, don't you know, it was Jonathan who gave Mathur the plan to help Piyush get the government land and the permissions for the Darshana Power project in return for Tanaz being made a secret partner in BMRO's core company.
You mean he was behind that too?
You mean to say you were aware of Jonathan's manipulations only in retrospect?
Yes.
You were not aware of his future plans. You were also not aware that he was trying to seduce Tanaz Patel with the sole intention of sending Ashok Mathur into a rage. So much so that Ashok Mathur wanted to kill Jonathan.
Not a clue.
Why did he keep this from you? I mean, why did he just give you half the story?
Because he was probably aware that it would ruin his game.
But then why did he tell you even half of that?
Because he loved me.
And I thought I knew Jonathan like the back of my hand.
Nobody knew Jonathan. He only let us think we did.
I'm sorry I didn't tell you, Akash.
But why didn't you tell me then?
I told her not to.
You?
She meant to tell you the minute you got back. You, Pavan, Prithvi. But I told her telling you would only make you mad, Akash. And you would all react with the same male point of view.
What's that supposed to mean?
Jonathan loved me.
Yeah, see what? You keep your damn mouth shut.
So I was right. I was right all those times what I thought. The reason why we drifted apart, all those fights we had after we left MII, you were having an affair with Jonathan Parker before he died.
I said Jonathan loved me. I didn't say I loved
give
him.
me that bullshit again.
Akash, I'm telling the truth.
Yes, and it took you 13 years.
What a scene! What a scene! Jonathan Parker should have been a great mystery novelist. Look at the way he has written the scene. Just look at it.
Professor Shah's right, you know. Jonathan's dead and he's still got you two fighting even now.
Don't you see, Akash? Jonathan brought us together and he's keeping us apart all these years.
Yes, but he certainly had help from some of us.
I agree with Akash. Maybe if you had told us all back then.
What difference would it have made? Akash would have flown into a jealous rage and killed Jonathan instead of Ashok Mathur.
That's what Jonathan expected, Varsha.
What?
Yes. Jonathan didn't love you. He just wanted you to tell Akash that.
So much so that Akash would be furious. He would want to attack Jonathan. Maybe even kill him.
That's the part behind part.
Well, Shah, Akash, Professor Shah has a point. Don't you see?
This was all part of the game.
Was there any part of this weird game that he wasn't part of? Actually, yes. There was one thing.